Hi guys, what's up? It's Will back once again for another fight card prediction. We're here for UFC 262. Charles Oliveira against Michael Chandler for the UFC lightweight champion. We're going to have a new champion in probably the best division in the UFC. Just an apology for not being around for last week. I missed a prediction again. I've had a kind of rough last 2 weeks. I've not been well. I've been ill. You can probably hear it in my voice a little bit. My wife was in hospital, and as you know, she's pregnant, and she had some complications, and thankfully everything's been okay. So just life's getting in the way, pretty much. That's all I can really say. So I can only apologise, guys. There's only so much time in a day. I've got another little kid to look after. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've kind of been up to the last 2 weeks. So again, apologies. I don't like missing fight cards, but life gets in the way. It's just the way it is sometimes. So just thank you for everybody I know some of you that reached out, sent messages, emails, whatever it may be. So thank you for that, for the kind concern that you shown towards me. And we're back with a good card here. Now, I'm not going to sit here and claim that I've watched every or even broke down every one of these fights on these card because, like I say, I've just not had the time. I've watched a fair chunk of the main card, but like I say, we're only on Wednesday. I'm going to watch a little bit more tomorrow, and I did the MMA Huddles pick on Monday, and I think I've changed my kind of mind on a couple of those fights since then. I watched a couple more extra fights, and I think I was maybe off in a couple of the predictions that I made there. So let's get straight into it. Like, so I'm not going to take too much of your time here, guys. I'll maybe talk a little bit more about the main card, which I know I've watched a lot more than the prelims and the Fight Pass prelims. So we're starting off with Christos against Sean Soriano. I'm really happy to see Sean Soriano come back to the UFC because I think he was kind of given a kind of tough hand in his first UFC tenure way back in the day when he was facing the likes of Kawajiri, who's just a Japanese grinder, Chaz Skelly, who, like I say, he can grind as well. And then he lost to Charles Rosa via submission, and he kind of went out and didn't look great initially in his early part of his kind of career after the UFC. Lost to Thomas Webb's a guy I know fairly well. Lost to Levan Makashvili, who was a former UFC vet as well. Then put a little bit of a run together. He had a loss in there as well, getting stopped by sub, and then he kind of came through, fought in the UAE, got a good win over an ex-UFC vet, Noad Lahat. Christos Giagos here. I don't like the short notice fight but for Soriano, but what I do like on the Giagos side, I think it's short notice for him as well, actually. So I kind of like the fact that he can grind a little bit more. And I think that's kind of what he's going to do here. I think he's just going to have a little bit more in the tank. Soriano's run about Kamaru Usman all the time, and I think he's probably learned a fair bit being out there in Colorado with Trevor Whitman and so on. I just like Giagos to kind of really win a close fight. I'm interested to see what Soriano's going to be in his second stint here in the UFC, because this should probably be the best Sean Soriano that we see. So I'm happy that he's back in the UFC. Like I say, I've watched Sean's last fight there, and then I never really watched anything after that. The CES ones I couldn't really find. So I'm going to take Jesus Giagos, but like I say, no real confidence. I'm probably going to watch more in this fight in the next day or two, just to kind of watch a little bit more about them. But Sean Soriano, really happy he's back in the UFC, like I've said, but I'm going to go Giagos. Kevin Aguilar against Tucker Lutz. I think Kevin Aguilar's kind of days are done in the UFC. I think he's kind of lucky he's still around in the UFC. I think he's now getting found out with his chin, getting knocked out by Zubair Hugov, losing a pretty close split decision to Charles Rosa, which I thought was a little bit unlucky in his part. And then he lost to Dan Ige, which is not a bad loss considering where he's fighting in the state of the division and who he's fighting next in the Korean Zombie. So I just think that he's kind of been found out in the UFC. There's nothing that's really too spectacular with him at all. Now, with Tucker Lutz, he's a guy that's coming off Dana White Contender Series. And honestly, I wasn't overly high on him when I watched the Dana White Contender Series. I actually really liked Blackledge. I thought he was going to be a better kind of contender coming off that show. But Lutz fought a really good fight in his second Contender Series fight there. Like I say, his opposition of opponents kind of low. In my opinion, I think he fights at Maryland, I think it is. So he's not fought the greatest caliber opposition, but sometimes that's just the way it is. You can't get matched up with certain with better guys, and it's just you have to take what you get, really. I just, like I said, I've watched a couple of fights I took a lot on the Contender Series. I watched the Dan Ige fight, and I watched the Hugov fight, and in fact the last 3 fights actually I've watched of Tucker. He's going to plant his feet. He's very flat-footed. He can be taken down because, like I say, his movement with his feet is not the greatest. Can swing big bombs, can get into a little bit of a slugfest, can take some shots most of the time. Tucker Lutz, I think, is going to want to try and use his reach a little bit, maybe stay back and try and use that. Just stay at distance. I don't think if he was to get into a slug him with Aguilar, I think he could kind of be made to pay in that spot. So I'm edging Tucker Lutz, and this is what I'm kind of really interested in for DraftKings. I've been looking at some of these fights for DraftKings, and I'm not too sure which side I'm going to go on, but I like Tucker Lutz in this one. Not fairly confident, but I'll take him there. Gina Mazzani against Priscilla Cachoeira. I think that Gina Mazzani rolls pretty easily here. Really liked what I seen her last time. Now, I know it's Rachel Ostovich. It's not saying a hell of a lot. Cachoeira is very aggressive, comes forward, is very apt to getting taken down. I think Mazzani, like I say, looked the best she's ever did. She comes from a wrestling background. Her brother's crazy, Dave Mazzani. So she's been around the kind of grappling side of things for a long time, and she's aligned herself with the Glory MMA and Fitness out there in Missouri, I think it is. I think her hubby is Tim Elliott, and having James Krause in your corner really only helps in situations like this, in my opinion. You've seen that he's brought not the most talented guys into the UFC, and they've kind of worked out. Molina, I don't think he's a kind of polished diamond yet, but really got into him to get into his fight there and win that one. I think she can grapple here. I actually think she can come in here and, like, say that the line is high and it's hard kind of betting Mazzani at a line that high, but I think she can be justified at this line. I think she could easily turn out a 30-27 victory here and look justified in her betting line. But like I say, I want no part of it because Cachoeira, like I say, she'll come forward, she'll sling bomb, she'll want to get into a slugfest, but I think she's open to getting taken down and beat up down there. So I'll take Mazzani for the win. Jordan Wright against Jamie Pickett. I'm on the Jamie Pickett side. I'm not impressed with Jordan Wright at all. I was looking at just the records of the guys fought, and it was like 0-36 of the people that he fought outside of the UFC. That's not going to cut it in the UFC, and it showed. I didn't think he fought like a bad round against Joaquin Buckley. Then getting the second round, then he got caught in that chin. I think he is chinny. What I like about Pickett is that I know he's been stopped a couple of times in the past, but he can take a shot, I think, a lot better. You've got that kind of karate background of Jordan Wright. I think he's the Beverly Hills Ninja or something he calls himself. Use a lot of those kind of flashy kicks. I just don't think that style, and especially a guy of his kind of caliber, will work in the UFC. So what I've seen from Jamie Pickett, I just think he's a little bit more hard-nosed. I think he's earned his kind of way into the UFC a little bit more than what Jordan Wright has. Been in there with some good guys in the Contender Series as well, who went on to be in the UFC, like Puna Soriano, fought Tafon last time out, and I kind of got burned last week. I bet Tafon and Chookagian. That was just a bad bet. I need to kind of really stay away from these Contender Series fights against grizzled vets like Park was there, but like I say, he was stopped by Charles Bard back in the Contender Series, so he has been stopped on odd occasion. He went back out in the regional scene, got his wins there. Like I said, I just think he can take a shot. I think he can give a shot. I don't think that Wright's got the best chin. I don't think he's got the best defense. And I think he can go harder over 50. I've seen more of him going hard over a 15-minute pace as well. So I'll take Jamie Pickett to knock out Jordan Wright in that one there. Andrea Lee against Antina Shevchenko. Was kind of leaning on the Andrea Lee side. And I think I'm going to stick with my pick, but not super confident. I think that two strikers by trade. I think I give the more all-round kind of striking to Andrea Lee a little bit. I think she kind of used her kicks a little bit better than what Shevchenko does. Shevchenko's got very kind of talented hands, but like I say, she's not super high level. And it's she came into the sport quite late, and she showed. I suppose she's shown in her UFC kind of tenure that she's jumped up some levels a little bit. She kind of trades wins and losses. Lost to Roxy, beat Pudilova, who's no longer in the UFC. Lost to Chookagian, where she kind of got grapple fucked pretty badly there. And then she beat Lipsky, which for me, it's not the greatest W in the world. But this should be a fight with Lee here. I think both girls can actually take each other down. So I'm interested to see if any one of them decide to use this kind of game plan, is just take the fight to the mat. But like I say, I haven't really watched all that much in this one. I'm going to lean the dog in a very, very close split decision win there. Moving on, Lando Vannata against Mike Grundy. This is one I actually watched. What night would it be? Tuesday night. So we did the huddle on Monday night, and I watched this fight, a couple of fights over, and I went with Grundy originally. And now that I've kind of watched more of it, I'm thinking, can Vannata actually come out here and maybe stifle and stop some takedowns? Because if he can, then I feel like he's going to beat up Grundy in the feet. I actually, for some reason, I went into this fight, thinking that Grundy had he could maybe stand with Vannata for kind of longer spots in the fight, and I don't think he wants to do that, obviously, because he's a wrestler, and I think that's what he'll try and do here. The guy can get takedowns. He's got takedowns against better fighters than what Vannata is. I mean, he took down Movsar Evloev, nearly caught him in a guillotine there, nearly took him out in that fight. But like I said, I was kind of contemplating maybe betting Mike Grundy, and I was like, I think I'm just going to pass this fight altogether, because I think Vannata has got an opportunity. If he can stop some of these takedowns, I do think he's the more fluid striker on the feet. Lacks head movement, can get hit with big shots. Grundy knocked out Nod Narimani, which is something you kind of take, you look at a little bit there. I'm going to stick with Mike Grundy. I was kind of contemplating maybe switch my pick to Vannata, but Grundy, I think he can do enough with the takedowns to kind of win the fight. But I can see both guys kind of being a little bit gassy here, and I think he can have more top time over Vannata. But like I say, I think it's a pretty 50-50 fight now, actually. I'm interested to see where that fight kind of ends up and how it kind of goes down. Grundy's going to be the pick. Ronaldo Jacare Souza against Andre Muniz. I'm pretty confident in the Souza side. I think this is, when I watch this here, this is a better style matchup than he's had in a long time. Now, I know he's definitely not the Jacare that we once knew, but he can still get the fight to the ground and he can still be dominant down there. But his durability's gone. He can't really take a shot. Kevin Holland kind of caught him off the bottom. Now, they were big thunderous shots as well from Big Kevin, but he did. I bet him in that fight. I think he was an underdog there, and I was like, yeah, this is what I like to see. Got him down fairly easily, was being kind of dominant there, and then just got caught. Muniz is the guy that I've seen flop to his back. I think he's at a bit of a striking disadvantage with Jacare. I think he's a guy that will probably want to test his jits against Jacare down there. So I can kind of just see this being Souza kind of winning this through a decision. I think that Muniz will be, even though I've seen him when he's on his back, he will go for submissions, he'll work. I just don't think he's faced someone overly this good kind of in jiu-jitsu, but also kind of MMA kind of grappling with Souza here. So I'm kind of contemplating betting Jacare, which is, like I said, I got burned last time out. But with the line is now, I've not looked at the lines all day. I think it was -110 a piece for the last time I looked. It's like, that's not bad for Jacare. And what I think is a good style matchup. So I'm going to go Jacare Souza to win that one via decision there. Matt Schnell against Rogerio Bontorin. Sorry, guys. Went into this one thinking, I really like Bontorin there. And then I watched these couple of fights. I'm like, dude's a meathead. He can get popped up from distance a little bit. He can get kept at the end of a jab. Can be taken down by numerous occasions. Watched the Ray Borg fight, and I bet him in that spot as well. I think I bet him against Kai Kara France as well. I think I did, actually. And then that Kai Kara France got the takedown, got to the back, and I was already seeing that money coming into my bank account right there and then. And then Kai Kara France, to his credit, got back to his feet, used his striking, and then knocked him out. And like I say, that wasn't overly long ago as well, and that's at flyweight. Get knocked out of that division like brutally like he did, that's not great. This is at bantamweight, so that obviously these guys have arranged to kind of fight at that division there. Schnell's made good improvements. I don't think he's I think he's kind of hitting his peak of where he will always be. Like the way he's put his hands together, his chin's always a little bit iffy. Bontorin's not really known as a big kind of one-punch knockout guy. Could catch him with a shot. I still think that he's got bad tendencies matched, and I think he can leave his head there to be caught. But he's shown a little bit more of a varied game. Will take it to the ground. He's got a good choke game as well if he can get his arms in the right position. So originally I was kind of on the Bontorin side, but I like Schnell in this spot. I think that I'll just edge him to win that one there. Shane Burgos against Edson Barboza. Love this fight. I think outside the kind of top, I think this is in the top 3 fights of the card, obviously, but I really like this one. And I'm seeing a lot of kind of, not that I've been online overly much this last week, but the odd times I've been on there, I'm like, I've seen people say, why is this line so close? Burgos should be a bigger favourite. And I'm like, really? It's like, I don't think Barboza's looked bad at featherweight at all. I think that he had a split decision loss to Dan Ige, which I still think to this day that he won that fight, but a close fight nonetheless. The judges gave it to Ige. And then he kind of beat up in Makwan and Mercani and dropped him a couple of times there. And then I thought it was going to be the end of him we see in the UFC, because I thought the UFC definitely were not going to give him the money he wanted, but the guy stuck to his guns and he's got himself some great money from what he's saying. So fair play to that guy. Great matchup in this one here with the fact that we know that Burgos is a striker, a devastating striker, good combination striker. I don't think he's got the best defensive qualities on the feet. I think he can be hit. I think he can be picked apart, can be counter-punched a little bit. And we have seen in spots before that he can get hot with clean counter strikes. And there's nobody with a kind of more cleaner technique than what Edson Barboza is, who can put it all together with knees, with his low kicks especially. And he can put his hands together as well. I am a little bit worried that he fades off a little bit here with the pressure that Burgos can bring. And if he starts to fade a little bit, then I think that Burgos can maybe take over late. But for me, I see Barboza just winning the first 2 rounds by picking the better shots, being a little bit more varied with his attacks. I'm kind of winning the fight through there. So I've got Edson Barboza to kind of win a fairly close decision, I'm going to say, with the possibility of a knockout, depending if he can maybe catch something clean on Burgos' chin. But Burgos is, to be fair, when he gets put down, he kind of jumps back up quite quick as well. So, and I bet him in that Emmett fight as well, where I thought that I think it was the second round he won. I was like, getting to the third round, I was like, keep doing what you're doing. And then too aggressive, got caught against probably the biggest power puncher in that division and got put down. So I'm going to pick Edson Barboza for the dub there. I actually quite like him in this spot. Chookagian against Araujo. I was going to try and watch Katlyn Chookagian fights, and I just can't do it, guys. I can't do it. I watched Araujo, and I think she's got enough here personally to win this fight. But I think she has to win the first couple of rounds, because I think Chookagian can go hard over a 50-minute pace. We've seen her vary up her attacks a little bit in the Shevchenko fight, where she took the fight to the mat against another striker, you could say. Araujo's going to want to keep that there, keep it at distance, use those leg kicks. Just try and slow down Chookagian. She's going to be fighting at distance, looking to move off, use angles as she usually does. But I could probably see her trying to use some of her grappling, because I think that's not a bad way of kind of attacking this fight here, is taking Araujo to the ground and trying to line her a little bit and tire her out, because if she can do that early on, I think she can probably pocket some top time and probably win some rounds through that. The way I kind of see this going is Araujo just kind of catching her with more shots, catching her with some good counter shots and kind of going from there. So, like I say, I've not watched any of Chookagian, don't really want to watch any of Chookagian. And I watched a couple of fights of Araujo where she's quite strong in the clinch as well, something that I like from her. Big fight for her. I think she can get herself up there to a title shot with a big win here, but Chookagian's never easy to look good against. I'll take Araujo for the win there. Tony Ferguson against Beneil Dariush in the co-main event. Love this fight. Love Beneil Dariush. Never been the biggest Tony Ferguson guy. Respect the hell out of him though. I've been on a tear betting Beneil Dariush in the last 6-7 fights since he lost to would it be Hernandez? It would have been, and he's just been a money train for me big time. But the way this line's going here, I think I want to sit back and just watch this fight. The dude is just like, he's got all the skills, great striker, he's got power, great grappling, great jiu-jitsu. But when you bet on him, actually recently, like, he's been kind of scary to bet on for the simple reason that he comes forward full of pressure and he's just looking to take you out and be super aggressive. He did it against Carlos Diego Ferreira. We've seen that he can be broken down with grappling. That's kind of what happened in the first fight 6 years ago. It kind of happened with the last fight as well, where he uses grappling, but he's very aggressive with his striking. His defense lacks a little bit. He can be hit. Ferguson's a guy that could hit him because he's always moving, always looking to throw shots. For me, I just think that Ferguson is starting to kind of show his age a little bit. He's like 37, 38 in that division. You can't really stick around at the top level for as long as he has for that long. I just think that his time is kind of up in this division. I think that Dariush has got everything here that he can beat Tony Ferguson. I don't see where Ferguson really... I mean, I'm still not 100% sure on Dariush's chin. Obviously, he's been caught with some big shots and knocked out before. And Ferguson, has he got that one-punch knockout power? I don't think he has, but he's got a lot of variation with his strikes, a lot of good angles, a lot of good foot movement, can throw elbows, can be nasty in the clinch, can get taken down. It's just he's a very awkward fighter to fight. But I think he got found out a little bit against Charles Oliveira. You can take this guy to the mat, you can kind of keep him there, use your strengths, and I think that Dariush is the stronger ground fighter in my opinion. So I see Beneil winning this fight. I don't think he wins via knockout. I think he wins a hard 15-minute fight. I think Tony stays tough in the fight, but I like Beneil Dariush, but this is the first fight in a long time I'm not betting him in this spot here. So yeah, Beneil Dariush for the win there. Great main event. Charles Oliveira against Michael Chandler. And I was thinking of this last week when I was watching the fights, and I seen they were prepping for 262, and I was like, Chandler's came in there, second fight, and he's got a UFC championship fight against one of the what's the word? Just his growth in talent and like just his overall game recently, and just from his like tenacity to his pressure. We all know about his jiu-jitsu skills. His wrestling, we've seen that, and his striking has just came on like leaps and bounds in the last few years, where he's so confident. Like, you don't really want to go to the ground with a guy like Charles Oliveira, because if you do, you're dicing with death pretty much. Wherever this fight actually takes place, especially now with his striking being so good, that this guy is as unpredictable as it gets. He could 1 second be landing punches on you, the next thing he's hanging off your neck, or he could be taking down like he did in the Tony Ferguson fight. The guy's like paid his dues, been around the UFC for 10 plus years, had some tough losses. Looked like he was just going to be one of these guys that floats between 145, 155, would never really amount to anything, maybe outside of being a top 10 fighter. But he's really shown recently that he's made that jump up to the next level. I still want to see him against Beneil Dariush, because I like Beneil Dariush in that fight. But he's got Michael Chandler here, and I loved the Michael Chandler fight last time out. I liked that bet. I think he was too big an underdog, in my opinion. Dan Hooker was coming off a big, hard fight against Dustin Poirier. Now, if anybody was out there picking Chandler via knockout, much respect. I did not see that coming, but kind of got that footwork out a little bit and swung that big left hand over the top there, caught him in the chin. I think it was the left hand, actually. Could be wrong. And knocked him out. Big knockout. But I've seen some people kind of discredit Chandler, and I'm like, dude, why are you doing that? He is definitely, in my opinion, around about a top 5 guy. I think he's found a lucky spot. I don't want to say a lucky spot, because we all know that Poirier would be in this spot against either one of these guys if he didn't take the money fight. But he's smart to take the money fight, because I still think that Poirier can stick around and probably could be the next guy. He will be the next guy if he beats Conor next time out, and he can face either one of these dudes here. But Chandler, like I say, I think he's going to want to grapple here, but then you're kind of dicing with fire a little bit. But what I've watched recently with Michael Chandler, he's got a really good base for top pressure. And I think that Oliveira might, even though he'll be super active on the ground, I think Michael Chandler can not get caught with something. And that's kind of scary saying that, because we know that Charles is super aggressive, and it won't take much that if he leaves an arm or his head in there, that he could take it home. He could take his neck home with a guillotine choke. Every minute of this fight, Charles Oliveira is a live fighter to finish. For me, I kind of lean on the Michael Chandler side here. I want Charles Oliveira to win, but I've just got this feeling that Chandler's going to just grind this one out. I think he's going to have enough top pressure. He's not going to get caught in shots. But the way Oliveira's pressuring, he could break someone like Michael Chandler with that pressure. So, yeah, I don't think I want to bet this fight. I'm going to sit back and enjoy it. Would like to see Charles win, like I said, but just got the suspicion Michael Chandler's going to come in here and be the new UFC lightweight champion. If you would have told me that a year ago, I would have told you were a silly, silly person. So, yeah, guys, that's my quick picks there. Good to be back. Like I say, sorry for not being here last week. Like I say, a whole host of shit was going down with my family, my wee girl, and then I've been ill for the last 4 or 5 days. But I got something out here for you guys this week. And I'm going to say apologies for last week because I know some people were looking forward to that. Until next week, guys, I can see the chat there. Hope you're all well. I'm not going to go through there. I'm going to go and get a drink because my throat's kind of killing me there. So all the very, very best. Enjoy UFC 262 when it comes round this weekend. All the very, very best. Take care. And good luck this weekend if you're betting.